The leaders wreck. Kevin Harvick wins again, and a couple of people surprised us, and a couple of people have dug themselves a hole. All this and more in the Darlington recap in under 5. Okay, so let's cover the big stories that everybody's going to be covering. So, Kevin Harvick wins again. I think it's his 8th win of the season, so not a surprise there. But what was a surprise was how Kevin Harvick won the race. First off, holding off Austin Dillon, who made one heck of a charge at the very end. We'll get to that also in a few minutes. But his car was going away. He didn't really have the greatest car all night, but he sat there and drove a smart race. He drove a really good, consistent race. But the interesting thing about Harvick being in the right place at the right time is that it strengthens his position. He's already won a race in the playoffs, even though it was sort of a gift. So this sort of solidifies his look over there as the favorite going into the rest of the playoff races. Denny Hamlin has had, like I said earlier in one of these things, just as many wins, but Denny Hamlin's been up and down, inconsistent. Like tonight, he goes to pit, he misses his pit, has to go around, loses a whole lot of positions, ends up costing himself a win. He definitely had a car capable of winning because he was running mostly second, third, first all night. He would have been in that position that Harvick was in to get that gift win. So like I said, Hamlin's been inconsistent. All these other guys have been inconsistent. The one consistent, Harvick's bad days end up being top 10s. So at this point, you have to look at Kevin Harvick as the favorite going forward. But what put Kevin Harvick in position to win this race was Martin Truex, who had probably the fastest car of the night. And without a doubt, Chase Elliott, who probably had the second fastest car of the night, behind Denny Hamlin, who got off on pit strategy when he missed his pit, trying to pit there on the last pit stop. Truex and Chase Elliott were battling for the lead, and Chase Elliott opened up the outside, gave Truex a good run coming off of 3 and 4. Truex used that run and then went down to the inside in 1 and 2. And I guess he thought he had Chase Elliott cleared. He clearly did not. He missed him by about a fender. But as Truex said, he was already committed to the move, so he went ahead and made that move anyway and took out him and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott ends up finishing 20th, and Martin Truex ends up finishing P22. So if you listen to the in-car radio, obviously Chase Elliott was not real happy about what happened. He said he definitely was not clear there. And Martin Truex Jr., after the race, said he thought he was clear. If it's his fault, then he apologizes. So obviously going forward, this could have huge playoff implications because it has dropped both of those guys where they had a nice cushion going into this round of the playoffs. Now they've fallen back to the pack, and we'll get to the points thing later. But obviously what's significant about that is if Truex falls out of the points, or if Chase Elliott falls out of the points and has like sort of a huge gap and any of that animosity carries over, one of them could take the other one out in the playoffs just to make their point, to be like, hey, you're not going to race me like that. So that is something very interesting to look forward to going on. But all in all, what was surprising about this was they are 2 clean drivers. You're not used to drivers who drive this clean racing each other like that, but that shows you how important this playoff situation is to them. These guys who normally race each other clean are racing each other so hard. They didn't necessarily race each other dirty. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a racing incident. I don't think they're going to wreck each other or anything crazy like that. I think it'll probably, cool down after this. But this definitely shows you that it took 2 guys out of their normal character to race each other like that and put themselves in that position when they clearly had a 1-2 finish. Obviously, you want to win the race to guarantee that you're locked in. Particularly, Chase Elliott wanted to win this race because going to Richmond, the next race, Richmond is Chase Elliott's worst track. He admitted that in the broadcast, I think. If not, the announcers definitely alluded to it. But going into Richmond is his worst track. So Chase Elliott really wanted this win. He was really driving hard. And Truex just, in my view, he missed it. He wasn't clear, and he drove Chase Elliott up into the wall, and that was that. So that'll be something interesting to look at going forward. Like I said, though, these guys are pretty level-headed. I think they'll just, let it die down. I think they'll look at it like I look at it. It was just a racing incident, and I think they'll move on. So the other story people are going to be talking about is going to be Matt DiBenedetto and Ryan Blaney, who dug themselves quite the hole. Ryan Blaney had just some issues all night. At one point, they came in because they put the wrong tires on the wrong side of the car, and strangely enough, they looked like they were in no hurry to repair this or fix this and get him back out. Which was just kind of odd. So I don't know. That was an odd situation. That got him behind the 8 ball. I think he kind of made that back up, and then some other things happened, and he kind of just, I don't know, he just had a really bad night. Another guy who had just a straight up bad night from start to finish was Matt DiBenedetto. At one point in the race, they focused on him. He was running so poorly. He was going a lap down, and he reported back to his crew that this is the best the car has run all night. So he just had an awful race. So those guys have dug themselves quite a hole. Cole Custer is down there in that too, but not a lot of people expected Cole Custer to sort of advance. He had that shocking win, I think, in Kentucky, but not a lot of people expect him to advance anyway, so he's down there. And then Clint Boyer and Eric Almirola are tied for the last transfer spot. One of the big surprises of tonight was Austin Dillon. That 3-car showed a whole lot of speed tonight, and actually throughout this entire season, the 3-car and the RCR team and their affiliate teams in general have run so much better, including Bubba Wallace and the rookie Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick has put up a lot better numbers in that 8-car than Daniel Hemrick did last year, and it is obviously because the equipment is a lot better this year than it was last year. Bubba Wallace is having his best year ever. So RCR is on the up, so that was sort of surprising. The other surprising thing was Brad Keselowski had trouble early on. He smacked the wall, messed up the right side of the car, but he persevered and kept pushing forward, and he didn't lose a lot of points. I think he ended up getting a top 15, top 11. We'll actually look at that here in a few minutes. Yeah, but those two guys definitely surprised a lot of people with how they ran. Not necessarily Brad Keselowski how he ran, but how he ran after the contact. And Austin Dillon, the RCR group, continues to surprise everybody this year. They're having a great run. That second place, man, he was doing everything he could to pass Kevin Harvick. Just didn't quite have enough right there at the end. But ended up being a great race. So your unofficial top 10 as I'm recording this is Kevin Harvick, of course, wins. Austin Dillon second. Joey Logano, who also had a pretty good run considering the damage he had, finishes third. Eric Jones making a statement, finishing fourth. Looking for a ride next year. Obviously has been kicked out of that ride and is not in the playoffs. William Byron finishes fifth. Keeps his momentum going from that win last week. Alex Bowman finishes sixth. Big for him because he sort of ran poorly here as of late. Kyle Busch looking to rally here. He hasn't had a win this season, but that seventh place is a nice finish for him. Kurt Busch doing what he needs to do. Scored a lot of stage points and got an 8th place finish. And Eric Almirola and Clint Boyer round out your top 10. And Brad Keselowski, who I mentioned earlier, he ended up finishing 11th, and Cole Custer 12th. All right, so your leader of the points right now is Kevin Harvick, no surprise there. Denny Hamlin in second, also no surprise. Joey Logano third. Brad Keselowski, he rallied to get that 4th, like I talked about. Alex Bowman in 5th, doing what he needs to do. Actually kind of turning his season around, like I said. The last part of his season has not been good. And Martin Truex in 6th. He messed up his cushion. He had a nice little cushion. Chase Elliott in 7th, also messed up his cushion. But the interesting thing from Truex to where you're going to see here Kurt Busch and Clint Boyer and Eric Almirola, there's only 14 points that separates 13th from 6th there. So that's what's interesting about that wreck. Martin Truex and Chase Elliott have thrown their cushion away, and now there's only 14 points that separate them from not making the playoffs. All right, that's the recap for the week. Check out the Steesh Thursday night. He's going to be coming at you live from Carteret County. 7:30 as usual, but it'll be a Thursday night show instead of a Wednesday night show. All right, peace.